Thank you for watching our videos. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. In Abara village, tucked within a lush southern Nigerian valley, flowed the Osimiri River. Its crystal-clear waters mirrored the sky like an enchanted-looking glass, nourishing the fertile lands that brought the village prosperity. The people of Abara knew this river was far more than water. It was the home of Mami Wata, the mighty water spirit, half woman, half fish, whose beauty was matched only by her wrath when disrespected. Every new moon, villagers placed offerings of kola nuts, honey, and gleaming coins on the banks to secure Mami Wata's favor. In return, she shielded the village from floods and blessed them with bountiful harvests. Every mother taught their children from infancy to respect the river, never to defile it, and always to thank its spirit for her gifts. Adanna was the village chief's daughter. At 16, her beauty already turned heads. Her beaded braids danced on her shoulders when she laughed, and her skin shone like polished ebony in the sun. But Adanna had a flaw that worried her mother, an insatiable greed and a reckless disregard for caution. "Adanna, my child," her mother often said while braiding her hair, "you must respect Mami Wata. Never go to the river without an offering, never bathe at dusk, and above all, never take fallen fruit near the water without asking permission." But Adanna would only nod absently. To her, these tales were just old wives' stories meant to frighten children. On the northern bank of the Osimiri grew a grove of mango trees bearing the juiciest, most delicious fruit in the whole region. These trees belonged to Mami Wata, it was said, and their fruit could only be taken after an offering and a prayer. Yet Adanna, driven by her greed, often went there in secret. One particularly hot day in the dry season, as the sun began to dip, Adanna slipped towards the river. She wore her finest wrapper, for she was to meet Cheek, the young man who set her heart racing later that evening. On her way, she decided to stop by the mango grove to cool off. Reaching the trees, she spotted a perfect mango, golden and round, seeming to call out to her. Without hesitation, without prayer or offering, she picked it up and bit into it with delight. Sweet juice ran down her chin and stained her beautiful wrapper, but she paid it no mind. She carelessly tossed the pit into the water, then leaned down to wash her hands and face in the river. That's when she noticed her reflection. But something was wrong. Her reflection was smiling while she herself was frozen in surprise. Then the reflection changed, warped. The eyes grew larger, brighter, the skin more scaly, the teeth sharper. "Adanna," whispered a voice seeming to rise from the water's depths. "Adanna, ungrateful, reckless girl!" Terrified, Adanna tried to step back, but her feet seemed rooted to the spot. The river water began to churn, and slowly a form rose to the surface. A woman of unearthly beauty emerged up to her waist, her body merging below into a shimmering fishtail. Her skin glistened with iridescent scales, and her hair, tangled with seaweed and pearls, floated around her like a living crown. "Mami Wata?" Adanna stammered, her heart pounding wildly. "You have defiled my waters," the spirit said in a voice soft yet icy, like the murmur of an underground current. "You have taken without asking, discarded without thanking. Your arrogance and disrespect have gone on long enough." I'm sorry," Adanna murmured, her words trembling. "I won't do it again." Mami Wata's face transformed into a mask of rage, her once beautiful features twisting into something inhuman and terrifying. Her eyes turned black like bottomless pits, and when she opened her mouth, Adanna saw rows upon rows of sharp teeth. "Your apologies come too late," the spirit hissed. "You will learn respect through fear." The water suddenly surged, coiling around Adanna's ankles, then her knees like liquid serpents. She tried to scream, but no sound escaped her throat. The water kept rising, reaching her waist, then her chest, cold as death against her skin. Adanna felt an invisible hand pulling at her legs, dragging her relentlessly beneath the surface. She fought, but in vain. Water flooded her lungs, and everything turned black. When Adanna regained consciousness, she lay on a sandy bed at the river's bottom. Strangely, she could breathe. Around her, half-human, half-fish creatures moved gracefully through an underwater city built of shimmering coral and precious stones. Twisted columns of gold and mother-of-pearl rose towards a liquid sky dotted with iridescent bubbles. And upon a majestic throne sat Mami Wata, watching Adanna with cold eyes. "Welcome to my kingdom," the spirit said. "You will remain here until you learn the meaning of respect." Days passed, then weeks. Adanna learned to serve Mami Wata and the other water beings. She cleaned coral, polished the gemstones adorning the underwater palace, and listened to the stories of the other prisoners. For she was not the first to have disrespected the river spirit. She discovered some had been there for years, transformed into half-human, half-fish creatures, doomed to serve Mami Wata for eternity. One, an old man with silver scales, told her he had been a fisherman who took too many fish without ever thanking the river. A young woman with hair like seaweed explained she had thrown trash into the sacred water, thinking it didn't matter. Meanwhile, on the surface, Adanna's family searched for her desperately. Her mother wept day and night, and the whole village joined the search. The village diviner consulted his cowrie shells and revealed the girl was held captive by Mami Wata. The chief then organized a grand ceremony to appease the water spirit, offering the finest gifts and promising that never again would an inhabitant of Abara show disrespect to the river. Underwater, Adanna was slowly changing. Scales began appearing on her legs, and her fingers grew webbed. She realized with horror that she was gradually transforming into a creature of the river. One morning, while polishing a rose quartz stone, she caught her reflection in its surface. Her eyes had changed color. They were now a deep blue-green, like the waters of the Osimiri. One night, as she worked in silence, Adanna heard the distant echo of drums and songs from her village. The river spirit listened too, her face unreadable. "They mourn you," Mami Wata finally said. "They offer sacrifices for your return." Adanna bowed her head, tears flowing down her cheeks, mingling with the surrounding water. "Please," she begged, "let me go home. I've learned my lesson. I'll teach everyone the respect owed to the river and its spirit." Mami Wata watched her for a long moment, as if probing her soul. "You have changed, Adanna," she said at last. "Fear has taught you respect, but have you learned gratitude?" Adanna closed her eyes, seeing again the moments she'd ignored her mother's warnings, when she'd taken without thanks, when she'd thought the river was just an endless source of pleasure. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm grateful for the water that gives us life, for the fruit you grant us, for the fertility you bring to our lands. Without you, Mami Wata, we would be nothing." The spirit seemed satisfied. "Then you may return home, but you will forever bear the mark of your time in my kingdom, as a reminder and a warning to all." The next morning, the villagers found Adanna lying on the riverbank, unconscious but alive. When she opened her eyes, all noticed with astonishment that they had changed color. They were now a deep blue-green, like the waters of the Osimiri, and on her skin, tiny iridescent scales appeared in the sunlight, silent witnesses to her time beneath the waves. Adanna told her story to the gathered village. She spoke of Mami Wata's underwater kingdom, of the prisoners transformed into water creatures, and of her own transformation that had begun. Her tale made the villagers shudder with dread, and everyone, young and old, understood the vital importance of respecting the river spirit. From that day, Adanna became the priestess of Mami Wata. She led the ceremonies at every new moon. She taught the children the rules to follow near the river. When she spoke, her voice sometimes held strange resonances, as if it carried the echo of the depths. Years passed, and never again did an inhabitant of Abara disrespect the river. Harvests were bountiful, fish were plentiful, and prosperity reigned. But all knew that beneath the Osimiri's peaceful surface hid a world where Mami Wata ruled as absolute mistress, ready to punish those who dared forget her power. And when Adanna died, very old, it was said her body mysteriously vanished before burial. Some claim to have seen her one last time at dusk, sitting on a rock in the middle of the river, her skin covered in shining scales, before she dove and was never seen again. Parents still tell Adanna's story to their children today, to teach them that nature deserves respect and gratitude, and that recklessness and arrogance always lead to punishment. For Mami Wata still watches, in the depths of the Osimiri, ever waiting for someone to forget the lesson. Thank you for watching this video. Click on the next video to continue. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.